A miter saw is a specialized power tool that lets the user make cuts at a variety of angles. The saw has a circular blade mounted on a swing arm that pivots left or right to produce angled cuts. You can use a miter saw to quickly make repeated cuts at specific angles for items like frames, boxes, and molding. When using a miter saw, follow all Woodshop standard operating procedures. Follow all general power tool standard operating procedures found on the Canvas page. Wear safety glasses. Wear ear protection. Wear a dust mask. Read the liability waiver found on the Canvas page. Upload a signed document to the portal found on the Canvas page. On the Canvas page, read through the miter saw training page. Read and understand the user manual associated with the miter saw, and take the quiz for the miter saw. Make sure your work area is well lit and clear of debris and dust. De-energize the tool by unplugging it before changing blades or inspecting the saw. The saw has a locking pin on the rear of the arm. Push the saw down slightly and pull the pin out. This will release the blade from the fence area. Check the functionality of the spring arm, the guard, and inspect the blade for damage. Check the functionality of the swing arm and the locking mechanism. If performing a beveled cut, loosen the lock at the back of the saw and rotate the head of the saw to the desired angle and lock. If performing an angled cut, move the swing arm to the desired angle and make sure the arm is locked. To move the arm, depress the spring lock with your thumb and move the arm to the left or right. There are detents in the frame at 45, 22.5, 15, and 0 degrees. This thumb spring lock will catch these detents if those are the desired angles. You may lock the swing arm in between these angles by twisting the handle to the right to tighten it down onto the frame. You may then untighten it by turning it to the left to loosen the handle and move the arm freely. There is a laser guide found at the top of the handle. You may switch this on or off with this switch. Align your blade so that it is on the off-cut side of your mark. The blade is about 1/8 of an inch thick and will remove that amount of material from your workpiece. Make sure your material is supported on the left and the right. This miter saw stand has adjustable rollers that can support the left and right side of your material. If the material is unsupported, it can be off balance and fall once cut. This can then create a jam on the blade, creating kickback. The rollers also have stops that can be flipped up and tightened down. This can allow you to cut equally sized pieces by butting the end of your workpiece to this stop each time you make a cut. Make sure your workpiece is not warped or bent or twisted. Never use wood that is wet or damp. Secure your workpiece to the miter saw using your offhand 5 inches away from the blade, or use one of these clamps to secure it down if you are unable to secure it with your hand at a safe distance. The workpiece should be secured down to the top of the work surface and back against the fence. When you are ready to cut, make sure to turn the dust collector on and open the gate that runs to the miter saw. Place the material flat on the base of the saw and pushed back securely on the fence. Do not attempt to cut a piece freehand without the use of the fence or base. Do not attempt to feed a workpiece into the blade. Do not cross your arms attempting to secure the material from the other side of the blade. Operate the saw with the hand that is closest to the handle. Secure the material with the opposite hand on the same side of the saw blade that your hand is. Never put a body part in the path of the blade. If making an angled cut, make sure to secure your hand to the base of the saw. Occasionally, when making an acute cut, the blade can pull the material closer to the blade, and if your hand is only secured to the material, it could be pulled into the blade as well. With your hand secured to the base of the saw, it will be sure not to move. Whenever possible, try to secure the material on the obtuse side of the angled cut, and not on the acute side. There will be more room for your hand to secure the material down. When using a stop block at one side of your piece, make sure to secure the material on the same side of the blade that the stop block is being used. The stop block can create pressure or tension between the blade and the stop block, creating a pinch point that can create kickback. Be sure to secure the material on the same side of the blade that the stop block is in use. The blade spins down and to the back. With the material secured down to the table and back against the fence, you should not have any kickback. Pull the trigger when you're ready to cut, and slowly and steadily lower the head of the saw through the material. Bottom the saw out so the head of the saw won't go down anymore. Release the trigger and allow the head of the saw to stop spinning. When stopped, you may then pull the saw head up back to the up position and then retrieve your material. If you hear or feel the blade become jammed or bogged down, turn the saw off immediately. Follow these standard operating procedures for the miter saw every time you use it.